Remember the day when I left home to buy some food, myself in that painful February mood. I did what I could.
Is it over? Oh. No. This is still... Yeah, this is still Earth.
What is your first name?
My name is Lucian. It's nice to meet you.
What is the date and where are you filming from?
The date's, May 4th of 2020, and I'm currently in my bedroom in San Antonio, Texas, where just 2 days ago on Friday, the 1st of May, Texas opened up all non-essential businesses, which includes my place of work. Thank God, my bosses have some common sense, so I won't be returning anytime soon.
What are your stances on social distancing? Do you believe the government could have handled things differently? Get political, if you'd like.
It's very insightful of you to ask. I didn't know we knew each other's, anyway. I think it's without a doubt that our government could have handled this whole pandemic a lot better. We were delayed in hearing about the pandemic because the higher-ups in the Republican demagogues as well as the liberal demagogues would have much rather secured their assets than make sure that their citizens were safe. And if that doesn't reek of some kind of corruption to you, then maybe see a therapist? You feeling okay? As for social distancing, I never really liked people touching me anyways. I mean, I live in Texas and I've always worn long sleeves and jackets and many layers, so that way people see, as little of me as possible and touch as little of me as possible. So I'm actually quite fine with social distancing, as a matter of fact.
How has isolation been treating you?
Isolation has been treating me like a very well-deserved friend that took a long time to finally arrive. At least for me, I feel like my life needed to come to some kind of a halt, and that I needed time to sit and think about the future, really. If I may be so personal, I am currently 19, and this is around the time where you really begin to experience a lot of change. And I feel that the isolation of quarantine has been a very good time for me to sit and think about what it is exactly I'm going to do with my future and who it is that I want to be as I grow further and further into adulthood. So it's been a very good period of introspection. I miss record shops, I miss my coworkers, but I think the world needs a pause. I definitely think that society needed to take a breather for a moment, so I actually view isolation quite positively.
What have you been doing to fill your time?
Well, I'm certainly not in any shortage of records to listen to, so this has been keeping me pretty occupied. But other than that, I've been drawing a lot more, sort of because there's really nothing else to do. You see, writing takes a little bit of too much thought, and watching movies takes too much attention. I can draw and not think about it and create something. And that mindless sort of creation is what I've really valued in these times. It seems to reflect the idle nature of time itself.
How do you think the world will change once quarantine's complete?
I hope that when we all come out of quarantine, and we've all spent some time away from each other, we begin to realize the value of human contact. I think that ever since the emergence of technology, and I don't mean to sound like a boomer or anything, but ever since technology has begun to rapidly advance, it has sort of taken a huge damper on our ability to interact with one another on a face-to-face basis. It's something I think a lot of people take for granted because usually it's never taken away from you. So, at this junction in time, we've been sort of revoked a very fundamental human desire, which is human communication. It's that it had never been revoked before, that we're missing it. The only thing I can ask of human beings at the time, during the pandemic and then after, when quarantine's over, is that you remember that you're speaking to a human being.
Has quarantine at all changed your view of the world?
I would much prefer it if the entire world lived their lives behind a mask. But as for how it has changed my worldview, the answer is really not quite a lot. I've always been somewhat of a unstable type, and I think that if anything has changed really from my worldview here, I'd say two things, and it's one, Fox News and the Conservative Party as a whole are, by God, a lot worse than you or I ever thought they could be. As a matter of fact, I'd go so far as to call them monsters, really. But, that's up to you to keep. And, I'm not saying any names, I'm not calling anybody out in particular. It's, really not classy to call people out one by one, or put the blame on anybody. Donald Trump! Sorry, Jesus. Maybe I should go get myself tested. They're all pieces of utter, fiery garbage. But that I already knew. And secondly, it's changed my worldview in the way that I didn't realize how many people out there were so vulnerable. Something I think that's important to remember about our Republican and conservative voters, emphasis on voters, is that oftentimes they're fed rhetoric from news channels that are funded by conservative demagogues. And it is not their fault that they've been, in a manner of speaking, albeit maybe a little dramatic, they've been brainwashed into believing that, climate change isn't real, this pandemic is just a liberal, leftist, coup to try and get the economy to fail, so that way when Donald Trump is reelected, he can inherit a bad economy, so that way the left can blame him for the... Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. It's made me realize that the Conservative Party is a lot more deadly than I thought they were. Encouraging their voters, the people who will keep them in their positions of power, to go out onto the streets and protest against the orders that have been put in place all across the world, not just in America, so that way they can get their own financial assets back. If anybody's watching this, I just wanna... Don't tell him. Oh, we're alone. Don't mind him. He won't tell anybody. The Republican Party is a death cult. They've sent their voters, their fan base, to some of the most deadliest places as of right now, and have driven them to commit some of the currently most dangerous acts to their health. They don't want your life to better. As a matter of fact, they'd probably be a lot happier if you were dead.
Remember that day when I left home to just buy some food.
I was given a list of questions by my friend Sophia to answer about this quarantine. What is your name? My name is Donovan. Where are you filming and what date is it? Now, I want you to think about the irony of this question. Where am I? Who the hell would I be if I wasn't anywhere other than home? And as for the date, don't know. I don't really remember. My stances on quarantine? Well, how hard is it to sit on your rear and do nothing all day? Not that hard. How do I believe that the government is handling this situation? Well, I care not for the government and how they're handling things. Politicians will do anything to hide their negative doings. It's pretty flawed. How have I been spending my time? I think about the loss of time, really. Yeah. My stance on this isolation and how it's been treating me. Well, I have to answer these questions, so not well. How has this social distancing affected your creativity? I wouldn't say it has, but it has affected me existentially, if that's what you're wondering. How will people change after this is over? Well, I'd say that people are going to learn to respect each other and get in touch with their inner morals, but I really don't think that's going to happen, and I think people will just grow more ignorant. And has social distancing changed my view on the world? No. No, it has not. I never believed in time anyways. Right down here.
Considering if when shouldn't I, or if when should. Sun was high, and
Hi, I'm Violet. Today is April 29th, 2020. I'm in South Florida, and I've been told to mention that my filming setup currently involves a trash can, a box of pancake mix, and a bottle of tequila. My tripod is broken, but let's talk about social distancing. Let's talk about quarantine. That's what we're here to hear about, right? Anyway, so being stuck inside and all this has actually both hurt me and helped me. On the positive side, it's forced me to pick up new hobbies and create more art, as there really isn't that much else to do. I paint, I write music, and I do photography and all of that. Being confined is a blessing in and of itself, because it's forced me to get more creative with my surroundings and with my own thoughts, as opposed to relying on the beauty that I find elsewhere or even in other people, which is, you know, a big subject for most of my art. But it's also isolated me from my outlets, like my classes and work, because I don't work an essential job. All of those stressors that would be there in regular life are still involved, but I don't have my outlets. So it's kind of just like it serves as an amplifier for all of my emotions and all of those stresses, which isn't good for me or for the people around me. It's actually affected some of my personal relationships more so than I'd think. I've always been a very affectionate person, but I feel like detachment from my friends and the people in my life has actually caused that part of me to fade quite a bit. I've become extremely self-aware, almost painfully so, And instead of drowning things out, you know, in the lives of my friends and the people around me, I've been forced to focus more on myself because all I really have right now is myself. It's like being in a bubble, you know, it's like detached from the things that make life feel real, you know? And of course, my family, lovely, has the added stress of my mother working in healthcare. She is a nurse. She's been a nurse for nearly 20 years. And she's obviously at an extremely high risk of exposure, which has put a lot of stress both on her and on my entire family and on me specifically. Because of my medical history, I have a lot of issues with my lungs reacting adversely to certain triggers in the environment. So obviously a virus like COVID-19 is extremely stressful to someone with a lung condition. But like, talking about my mother, who, you know, obviously works in healthcare, she has to come home, strip, wash her uniform, and shower before she can even touch anybody. She can't touch me, she can't touch my sister or my dad or even our pets until all of this has happened. Which is, it's funny because before all of this broke loose, I was actually hospitalized for lung issues caused by some kind of unknown infection, likely a viral trigger, of course. Obviously, there's no way to, you know, go back and tell what was really going on, but we have to have our suspicions, given the current environment and all of that. I heard my parents this morning, actually, arguing, you know, of course, it's always something, but that's just another way it's come to affect people in their home lives. It's an extreme stress and a globally spanning stress, and it just makes tensions run high in any kind of home environment. But overall, I think it's drawn attention to and will continue to draw attention to health issues that have been running rampant into our society for a lot longer than just this epidemic has been going, or pandemic has been going on. But it also definitely has the power here to spark, you know, with the media and social media and everything, it has the power to spark unnecessary panic, just as it already has for some people. So overall, you know, I think it's important, obviously, for everybody to stay inside, not just for your own safety, but for other people's safety, and to focus on the positives to as far as you can, because obviously stress and anxiety are very real issues, and they're going to come after you, but staying focused on the things that you can find within yourself to make you happy is very important, and if that's, you know, the one thing that I can communicate to you, that is it. Thank you. I'd like to thank Sophia for giving me this opportunity to speak on this a little bit, and I hope it wasn't just mindless babble.
Found me on the road to Genoa.
I'm Via. It's April 29th, and I'm filming from the guest bedroom in my house. Don't know why I'm not in my room. Actually, there's a spider. That's why I'm not in my room. Anyway, that's not the point. So, social distancing, it needs to stay in place because we need to keep people safe. But this could have been prevented, or at least contained. I'm not gonna say anything else on that. Isolation kind of sucks. I miss my friends. I miss my teachers, but I don't miss school. I miss my friends a lot. I had a mental breakdown the other day because I miss my friends. I've been watching people play Animal Crossing because we don't have Animal Crossing. I've been making TikToks. I've been doing my e-learning for the most part. I've been drawing, I've been reading, the usual things. Creative-wise, I've written a lot of songs, and they're kind of good. Not gonna lie. Once quarantine's over, I think we're all gonna, like, treasure the moments we have with each other because, like, we can't see each other now, and that sucks. Like, my views have changed because, like, you never realize how much a hug means to you until you can't have one. You can't, like, hug people, and it's really upsetting. Okay, bye.
Did you ever drive in a monster constitution and find to reach a seaport and done is a solution? You should if you could. There slowly, slowly I no longer thought, oh, what is good or what is not. There simply was the water smell and remoteness.